Welcome back, everybody. This will be our last installment to finish up this book. Today we're going to read chapter 19 and the epilogue, which is kind of like a little ending for the book. So we'll be done with it and we'll be ready to start our next book, our next activity. No telling. What are we reading? What's the name of the book? Who remembers? Everybody remembers. We're reading Hatchet. Hatchet is the title of our book. And who's the author? Yeah, everybody remembers that one too. Gary Paulson. Gary Paulson is the author of the book. What does it mean that he's the author? Yep. Who said? Yeah, everybody. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got it. Right. Means he's the person who wrote the book. Gary Paulson wrote this book. He wrote Hatchet. This is what we're going to do. We're going to read Chapter 19 and the epilogue today. We will be finished with the book after today, after this reading. But as always, we are reading our adapted version of Hatchet by Gary Paulson. What is an adapted version? You're going to get much the same information, not nearly as much text. Once we finish reading the last two bits of it, we will go ahead and do these comprehension questions on it, talk about it, and ready to move on to our next activity. So let's go ahead and look at chapter 19 in Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Now, let me kind of back up a little bit here. In our last reading, we talked about Brian had noticed that part of the plane was sticking out of the water of the lake. So he built a raft. He went out there. He had to take his hatchet and chop into the plane because Brian wanted this, the survival kit. We talked about, you guys listed a few things that you thought might have been in the survival kit. We're actually going to see what was in the survival kit. Well, some of the stuff that was in the survival kit in today's reading. And we're going to move on. Let's see here. Chapter 19. Brian looked through the items in the survival kit. He found a sleeping bag, pans, a lighter, a rifle, a transmitter, and food. Brian turned the transmitter switch back and forth. He cooked some food over the fire using the pans. He heard a plane. It landed. Brian invited the pilot to eat. So Brian has got this survival kit out. It's got a lot of stuff in it. He's got the survival kit. It had sleeping bag, a lighter, pans, the transmitter, which is kind of like a radio where he could contact other pilots. I don't know. And then he heard a plane. The plane landed. Brian being Brian, he just fixed something to eat, so he's like, come on, let's eat. All right, move on. Last thing. The epilogue. The plane had landed on the lake. Brian was rescued after 54 days. Brian had lost a lot of weight. He dreamed of the lake and the forest. Brian never told the secret. Do you remember what the secret is? The secret is that he saw his mom kissing another man. But he never told that secret. He was lost for how long? 54 days. So this plane landed. It's rescued Brian. Brian is now back home. What'd you think of the story? Good, bad? Favorite part? Least favorite part? Everybody's different. Good job. I hope you liked it. I liked it. So let's go ahead and look at the questions. Of course, we're going to start with our first one here, the one we always start with. What was the title of the book? Every single one of you know that answer. You don't need to wait for me to give it to you. Go ahead and write it down. If you don't have paper yet, hit pause. Grab paper and pencil. If you have this, just grab a pencil and circle. What was the title? Hatchet. You're right. Everybody knew that one. You guys are so good. So good. Hatchet. You should have written Hatchet down or circled it. Whatever. Let's go on to the next one. Number 2. Who is the author of our book? Is it John Grisham, Gary Paulson, or Stephen King? Who wrote this book? Write his name down. Circle his name. What is it? You're itching to... Yeah. Just yell it out. Gary Paulson wrote this book. Good job. Okay, now this one's a little different. It says circle or write if you don't have this and you're just writing, that's fine too. It says circle at least 3 items found in the survival kit. Now these are just 3 items that we read from our book. 3 items found in the survival kit. Transmitter, money, a rifle, clothes, or food. Pick 3. Don't just pick 1. Pick 3. Write them down or circle them. Okay, for those of you writing, it may take a little longer, so you may want to hit pause here. I don't want to give you the answer. You can go back in the story and find it. You guys know this stuff. Because I'm getting ready to spiel. I'm getting ready to say it. All right, so let's go ahead. 3 things. He found a transmitter. We're going to go back in the story and check this out too. There was also a rifle and there was food. Those are the 3 things from this list that we read about in the story. The transmitter, the rifle, and food. So let's go back and look in our book really quick. Well, I skipped the first 2, so let me kind of review that. The title of the story is Hatchet, so that's what you should have marked here. The author is Gary Paulson. That's what you should have marked here. And then if we go back into our story, 3 things he found. He found a sleeping bag. That one's not listed. He found pans. It's not listed. A lighter. A rifle. A rifle is listed. It's right here. A transmitter. A transmitter is listed. It's right here. And food. And food is listed. It's right here. So those are 3 of the things he found in the survivor kit. Okay, let's look on at the next page. Go on to the next page. Number 4. Was there an emergency transmitter in the pack? Yes, no, or neither. Write it down or circle your answer. There was. You're right. Yes, there was. Actually, we just read it. One of the things here at the top, it says some of the items that he found were, where's it at? A transmitter. So it's right here, transmitter. That was also one of your answers on the previous page. You circled it right here, a transmitter. Okay. Number 5. Which of his new items did he use to cook food? He did not cook. Pans or sleeping bag? Which of his new items did he use to cook the food? He did not cook, pans, or sleeping bag. Write it down or circle your answer. Okay, well, he did cook. We've already discussed that. And you can't cook with a sleeping bag. He used, of course, the pans. If we go right back in here, it says he found some food over, he cooked some food over the fire using, right here, the pans. You can always go back in the story to find answers. Number 6. Was Brian rescued? Yes, no, or neither? Write it down or circle your answer. Was he rescued? He was. You knew that. Good. Brian was rescued. So it says it specifically on the next one that Brian was rescued. It kind of just leads you into it on this one. He heard a plane, it landed, and he invited the pilot to eat. So let's move on. Last few questions. This one is specifically over the epilogue, the end of the book. How long had Brian been lost? 60 days, 54 days, 85 days. How long had Brian been lost? Circle your answer or write it down. That's correct. He had been lost for 54 days. 54 days. And that is right at the top of what we read. The plane landed on the lake. Brian was rescued after 54 days. Anytime you're working on an assignment, remember you can always go back and find these things in the text. You just have to look. Next one. What did Brian dream about after he was rescued? The wolves, the moose attacking him, the lake and the forest. Write your answer down or circle it. He dreamed about the lake and the forest. And if we go back and look, it says right here that he'd lost weight. He dreamed of the lake and the forest. It's right here in our book. Last question. Did Brian tell the secret? Yes, no, or neither? Did Brian tell the secret? Write your answer down or circle it. Nope, he never told the secret. He did not tell the secret. No, he didn't. And if we go back to our book, you're going to see, very last sentence in the story, Brian never told the secret. we have finished reading Hatchet. We had an adapted version. It was a great book. I love this book. I hope you liked it too. We're going to start looking at our next list of activities to do. But for now, just to finish this one up, I would like you to either write a couple sentences, doesn't have to be a lot, or draw. You can draw a picture, you can always do that. On one, your favorite part of the book and your least favorite part of the book. You like this the best and you didn't like this part at all. So I would like a sentence or two on each of those. Add it to the quiz. Add it to the paper you're writing on. Add it wherever you want. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the reading of Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Brian was our main character. I don't know what I'm thinking. Let me try that again. I hope you enjoyed reading Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Bye, guys.